Thank you, Florence, for acknowledging that you do see my screen. Okay, let's start. First of all, a little bit about why we're doing these webinars from OPSA is that our theme for this year is shaping tomorrow together. We live in uncertain times. We hear about AI, we hear about our jobs disappearing or appearing, or new jobs coming or going, and we don't know where we are. And we'd like to take this year and get everybody to realize we're all in the same boat. Let's share information. Let's shape tomorrow together, because together we are a strong force and we can support each other. So that is our theme, and we decided to start our webinars so that we can share information with not only our members, other people as well, and that people can be a little bit more confident in stepping into tomorrow. About myself, I've been in the industry for about 45 years in various roles, very long time. I know I've seen the timeline of technology from the beginning. So yes, it's very interesting to do a thing like this, because when I put the slides together, I kind of look back and I realize how life hasn't changed very much. We think it is changing, but actually the change has been happening for many, many years. We will be hosting other webinars, upcoming webinars, empowerment and leadership, future focus, a commitment to preparing for the future, community and support, collaboration and unity. So once a month, we will be having a webinar so that we can keep in touch with you and we can keep in touch with what's happening in our industry. We will add ad hoc webinars as well. We have one on AI and the administrative professional coming up in March. And there's one on cultural intelligence, something that we really need to learn about as well, because we're walking into a global workforce where we need to learn how to deal with people of different cultures and to understand them. So that will be a very, very interesting session. So please feel free. I've given the website at the bottom there that you can go into. You can see what webinars there are. You can see who the speakers are, and you can register for them from there as well. But into today's webinar, lifelong learning, the key to future-proofing your career. And I know it sounds silly. We all know what lifelong learning is and what it stands for. But do we actually do it? We make plans, but our plans always kind of fall away at some stage or other, because we get busy with other things and we forget about learning and we forget about moving forward for ourselves. But if we just go back quickly, very quickly, and look at the role of the administrative professional. Now, as I said earlier, when I do these kind of slides, I look at them and I always think, oh, my word, I've lived through most of these. And change has always been there. We think it hasn't, but it's always been there. If we look from the early 20th century, we had titles like secretaries, clerical staff. Organizations were very small. There weren't many people. We don't live in a world like we lived today. So secretary, clerical staff to do the work. They did things like managing correspondence, communication, filing, typing and dictation. I'm sure there's some of you who remember what it was like to do dictation, telephone and mail management. Very simple, running the office jobs. But in the early 20th century, we got things like the pencil sharpener coming up, carbon paper, typewriters, telephones, electric typewriter. And I'm sure in those days, the people thought exactly the same as we're thinking now. What's going to happen to us? Because now a typewriter can type faster than we write. Okay, where will our jobs be? I know it sounds silly, but just go along with me. Mid-20th century, we started getting executive secretaries, we got clerical workers, we got people called Girl Fridays. I had to put that one in. I was a Girl Friday. That is where I started off, as a Girl Friday. And you were basically the go-to in the office, the go-to for everything. You did everything that needed to be done, from taking stock to typing letters, to fetching the lunch, to answering the telephones. That was your role. So things again. But by now, organizations had started to grow. And as the organization grew and new things came into being, new devices came into being, So the responsibilities started to change. So you see things like bookkeeping coming in, managing office supplies, organizing meetings, typing, dictation, filing, office equipment, okay, operation, because it was your job that you needed to know how to work the photocopier, because it was up to you to be able to help everybody else in the office to operate that particular photocopier. Okay, you get the idea. So our photocopier came out, our fax machine came out. So life started changing again. And I'm sure once again, people were thinking, oh, there's new devices coming in. What's going to happen to us? Late 20th century, we started getting titles like administrative assistant, um, office manager, executive assistant. I'm not saying that those titles fell away because you still get those titles, but new titles were added. Okay, communication management, office management, financial tasks, support to executives, coordination, and liaison. Can you see how, as the centuries went by, as new things came into play, so the responsibilities started changing as well? Now, I'm noticing some people aren't hearing. Are there at least some people hearing me? If I can just have acknowledgement. Okay. All right. So it could be from their side then. All right, so if we have a look at late 20th century, we then started getting things like the personal computer, the desktop computer, and things like email came into play. And I'd like to add one in there as well, because after I typed it up, I realized there was something called a Wang word processor that actually came before the personal computer and desktop computer as well. And even then, when that came into play in about the 1970s, 1980s, somewhere around there, even then, there were changes happening to our role. I was a Girl Friday. I did everything in the office. Because I was keen to learn and willing to change to new things, I was selected to become a Wang word processor. And even at that time, I remember I was working on the Wang word processor, and we had all these new devices coming in, like the boss could sit in his office, he could pick up a telephone, dictate his letter, a little tape would jump up next to me at my desk on a different floor. I was able to take it, do dictation, type up the letter, and then send it down to him. And even then, we started looking and saying, well, what's happening to the role? Is our role going to disappear? Because now suddenly the person who was helping the boss or his assistant was now out of the job of sitting and taking minutes or taking shorthand and then going and typing the letter, because now he could automatically do it by picking up a phone. So you can see changes have been there year in and year out. Something happens where it makes a change in the role that you play. If we look at the 21st century, we're starting to see things like administrative coordinator, administrative specialist, administrative manager. We got virtual assistant, including all the other titles that I've just mentioned. Their role started changing. Strategic role, contributing to project management. Project management became a big thing. At one stage, it was always why does a PA or why does an administrator want to learn project management? It's not in their job description. And I remember specifically those words from being a facilitator, where companies would not allow their administrative personnel to go on courses like project management. And now suddenly it's becoming a really big thing for an administrative professional. Event planning, supporting organizational goals. And then things like laptops and smartphones came out. Cloud computing came out. Cloud computing was wonderful because now you could travel and you could have your files in one place so that you could access them easily. You didn't have to worry about rushing back to the office to get papers and things like that. We got our smart office devices. And in 2020, we started getting our AI-powered tools. And guys, every time these things came into play, we all started worrying and thinking, well, are we um, are we are we going to lose our job? Is our work going to be any less? Is things going to be any different? What does the future hold for us? But as you can see, every time there have been changes, there's been new titles that came up, there's been new responsibilities, and today is no different. If we look at modern trends, We're starting to hear about titles such as Chief of Staff, which is becoming quite a big one, Operations Manager, a Business Development Manager, a Business Operations Manager, a Business Support Manager. All these titles are starting to be added to the list of administrative professional roles. And yes, some of the roles, I can't fit them all in. I wish I had a slide big enough to fit in everything. But just briefly, it's strategic advising, project management, problem solving, big one, stakeholder management, performance monitoring, operational planning, resource management, process improvement, team support. All these kind of things are becoming the role of the administrative professional. Sorry, I just had to switch my phone off there, forgot. So all these, and there's many more responsibilities that can be added to those trends as well. Now we're starting to get things like our AI-powered automation, smart office devices, printers, whiteboards, our collaboration tools, our virtual workspaces, advanced video conferencing, cloud solutions, sustainability. And so you can see more and more things are starting to come in again. But once again, just like the past, there's no need for a big panic, because what happens is new titles appear, new job responsibilities are added, and new tools are given to us to make life a lot easier and to work faster and smarter and to be more productive. Evolving titles, other titles that you will see coming up from all these things that are happening is things like mentioned your chief of staff before, an administrative strategist, a title that emphasizes the strategic and analytical skills of administrative professionals, an operations coordinator, reflecting a broader role in managing the operational aspect of the business. And I'm not sure if you all watch LinkedIn, but on LinkedIn the other day, there was an article by an executive assistant who had become, I think it was a business operations manager, and had transitioned into the role fairly easy. Because as an administrative professional, you learn everything about the business. You get involved with everything that is discussed in the business. Therefore, you're growing your expertise and your knowledge. So when you take on a bigger role, like a business operations manager, you already have a good head start. Okay. So it was a great article, and she was saying how she easily transitioned it into the role because of her experience as an executive assistant. There's things like the digital transformation officer, highlighting the role in driving digital initiatives and adopting new technologies. Now, these are just titles that we've kind of like put together, looking around at what companies are starting to offer. But there are many more that might be similar to what I'm discussing with you right now. Along with all these changes is also automation. It's brought about automation. And things like our email and calendar management, our task and project management, our document and file management, our meeting and communication tools, time management and workflow automation. These have all, oh, sorry, I'm going the wrong way here. These have all come about with all the changes that it's brought up with the modern trends. And what I've done is you can see I've put some applications underneath each one that you might notice, things like your Todoist. Todoist is a wonderful application from Microsoft. Asana is bandied around a lot. You hear about a lot. Trello, Evernote, Dropbox, OneDrive. All these things, you might be familiar with some of them. You might not be familiar with others. But you should be looking at what are the apps out there? What are the automation apps? What can I use in my life that's going to make things easier? So I've just given you a little bit of an example of what is out, and it's a small example. There are many more applications out there that you can use to automate your work. So it brought about automation. It brought about innovative tools. We all now have AI-powered assistants, and assistants can be wonderful if they're used correctly. I must be honest and say that, you know, my AI-powered assistants work overtime because I've always got some question I want to ask or some document I want to find or some company that I want to do a comparison with their products for another company. So mine works overtime. It's brought about things like augmented reality and virtual reality, smartwatches, and AR glasses, augmented reality glasses. They give access to information and communication. And of course, our IoT devices, Internet of Things, that improve office efficiency. You've got smart desks, you've got climate control, you've got security systems. Everything is linked via the internet. It's also brought about expanded responsibilities. We now find that our role includes sometimes being a strategic advisor, a change management specialist, a data and analytic expert, and a remote work coordinator. And once again, you can see I've given you what the responsibility is there and apps that help you in that particular role. Things like Tableau, Microsoft Power BI, Google Cloud AI Platform, Slack, Automation Anywhere, WorkFusion. So it gives you an idea of the role, the extra responsibility that you play. There is things that you can use to help you learn and to work smarter and better. So it's expanded our responsibilities. Key trends for 2025, going into 2025, hybrid work models. I know a lot of us have gone back to work and are no longer just working from home, but we've got the hybrid where we work 2 days at the office, we work 3 days at home. Okay, so you've got to manage hybrid work environments, ensuring smooth operations regardless of where you are. Continuous learning is becoming a huge thing. Lifelong learning. You need to commit yourself to lifelong learning. Focus on developing new skills. Notice the new. Okay. I see people going on training and they go on the same training all the time. And it's nothing new. It's not stepping out of your comfort zone. Step out of your comfort zone and start learning new skills. Okay. Stay up to date with emerging technologies and industry trends. And I can't say that enough. Read the news. I was going to say newspaper, but you can read newspapers online. Read magazines. When you see new stuff coming out, go and Google it. Ask AI what it is, what it can do, how it can help you. You need to continuously be in touch with what is happening. Things are changing fast. And if you don't keep in touch, you're going to gradually find that you're working yourself out of the market. Digital fluency. Proficiency in digital tools and platforms as administrative tasks will become increasingly technology driven. And here is another one where I particularly want to really say we need to really work on this. I've worked with people. I did Microsoft Office training, and I always used to have a bit of a giggle because I would get a card in and I would say, okay, where do you feel your skills are in Microsoft Office? And they go, oh, no, they're advanced or very intermediate, they're advanced, and whatever. And I would then show them stuff that they should know from a basic point of view of how to use the software. And everybody would look at me in surprise and say, when did that happen? When did they put that in? But it's been there all the time. We only use our software for the things that we do. We don't look further along to see exactly what our software can do for us. Things like your quick parts, how to do building blocks, stuff that helps you save time and makes you more productive. Working together with all your packages, your Office suite, and Adobe, so that you can create stuff and send it automatically. You can automate procedures of sending out batch letters or invitations or things like that instead of doing things manually. So I would really encourage you, if I had to ask you when last you went and updated yourself on Word and Excel and PowerPoint and Outlook, could you tell me you have done it in the last year? If you haven't done it in the last year, then you're already out of date. So please learn the software that you have. Find out what it can do for you. Don't just use Outlook to send an email and read it. What are all the other buttons for? Go and investigate and find out. Do some quick learning online. YouTube is full of videos that will give you help on how to use your Outlook properly, how to use Word, how to automate your tasks using your software. It's given to you. It's the same with OneNote. If I take a class in for Microsoft Office training, and I say, who uses OneNote? Everybody looks at me and says, what's OneNote? It's that little purple N on your screen that comes free with Microsoft Office, which is one of the handiest tools to have. It's like having a notebook next to you where you can have pages and reminders and notes and all these kind of things. It takes you 15 minutes to learn it, but it can change the way you work in the office. Focus on well-being. Well-being is becoming a really big, important part as well. Promoting employee well-being and creating a positive work environment. So those are key trends, some of the key trends for the future. How does our future look as administrative professionals? I would say it looks bright. I think that the future will show that we'll get greater recognition for the strategic contributions that we can make in an organization. And your role will become even more important to the success of the organization, but it's up to you. Because you can see that it says it will require a blend of technical proficiency, strategic thinking, and adaptability. So it's time to, when you start looking at your learning plan for the future, that you make sure something like technical proficiency is in there, because that is what the future is, whether we like it or not. That is the way that we are going. Why continuous learning matters? Because if you continuously learn and you know what's happening and you've kept yourself up to date, adapting to change is a lot easier. It's not as scary. Okay, so continuously learning, checking what's happening out there, finding out about it, makes it a lot less daunting. For career and advancement, the more you learn, the smarter you become, the more you can advance in your career. Same with skill enhancement, enhance your skills. Innovation and creativity, the more you know, the more ideas you get. If you learn about something new that's come out, and you start looking around and you say, I learned how to use Canva. Canva can help me do my newsletter now. Not only my newsletter, I can do something else with it. And so the more you learn, the more things you see that you can change and the more ideas that you come up with. To stay competitive, you need to be able to stay competitive in the workplace. It's changing fast. And if you don't keep up with the skills and the technology that is required in your role, you're going to be left behind. For personal growth, very important, both professionally and personally. For your mental agility, keep yourself busy. Constantly learning keeps your mind working. It keeps you wanting to learn more, and it doesn't get lazy. Network expansion. By continuously learning, you can meet new people, new things, and you can expand your network. Technological proficiency. And lastly, your job satisfaction. If you are keeping up with learning and what's happening in your role, you can make a positive work environment rather than a negative one. And we all want to be happy at work. So by continuously learning, you keep yourself going, you keep getting new ideas, you keep being creative, keep your brain active, all those things put together, and you have job satisfaction. Skills for the future, very important one. When we're looking at our planning, our learning plan, or we're doing our KPIs and things like that, are we looking at things like our technological proficiency? What automation tools are out there that we should know about or need to know about that we can learn from? Advanced software, and I put advanced there. Things like Excel. Do we know how to use Power BI? Do we know how to do pivot tables? Do we know how to use it from a data analysis point of view? Not just typing up a little spreadsheet in a little table and that's it. How well do we know our software? And be honest with yourself, okay? But those are things that you should be putting in your learning plan to make sure that you know your software for what it can do for you. For strategic contributions, project management, data analysis. Data analysis is becoming a very big thing out there. And once again, if you know your Excel, that's an area that you can work in as well. Communication and collaboration, virtual collaboration. Um, things like your Zoom, MS Teams, get to know it well. Google Meet is another one that has come out. And even if your company just uses Teams, find out what the others can do as well, because you might need to move to another company. And it's going to sound so much better if they use Google Teams that you can say you have some experience in Google Teams, even though your previous company was just MS Teams. It shows that you are learning and that you are keen to learn. Get to know all the different platforms and what they can do for you. Employee wellness, employee experience and wellness, wellness programs, employee engagement for wellness programs, globalization and cultural competency, cultural adaptability. And that is something that is becoming very, very important as well. We're working with different cultures, not only in our own country, but we are starting to work with people from different countries as well. And it's important that we understand how they work, how they communicate, and what they do. As I mentioned earlier, we've got a really nice webinar coming up with Mvula Moloko on cultural intelligence. And it's a webinar that would be well worth listening to, because that is a skill that we need to start working on. Our soft skills, as usual, are emotional intelligence, problem solving, adaptability. These are just some. There are more that you can add to this list, but these are the ones that you should be focusing on for now. Tips for identifying learning opportunities. Things like doing self-assessments. I know we do KPIs at work and we do performance appraisals and things like that. But you should have a separate one where you look at yourself personally and professionally and look at where your shortfalls are. At the end of the slides, I will give you a link where you can go get a self-assessment and reflection tool that you can do for yourself. And I've filled in quite a bit of information on the kind of things that you should be looking at. That self-assessment very important, and it's something we often forget to do because we're so busy worrying about the other things in life. Research industry trends. Go out there and look. What is happening in the industry? What changes are happening? What are people looking for? Okay. What is another company changing their titles to? What are the roles that they are offering? Okay. What skills are they looking for? Look for feedback. Get feedback from your colleagues, from your boss. Ask questions. What do I need to learn in order to do X, Y, and Z? Where can you help me? Explore online learning programs. Learning is at our fingertips. It is everywhere on the internet, from YouTube to Google, to online learning platforms, to associations, to blogs, to newsletters, to webinars, to podcasts. There are so many avenues that you can use to learn. Look within your company yourself. Sometimes your company is willing to send you on training and proper qualifications, and they will pay for you and you have to pay them back. And sometimes they're quite keen to give it to you as long as you work back for a certain number of years. What learning can they offer you? What can you learn inside your company as well? Use training programs and mentorship from associations. There's plenty of networking places and associations where if you need a mentor, they would be willing to put you in touch with somebody. Connect with mentors. Set up alerts on job boards and learning platforms for new learning. When you're busy on the net and you're learning things on a website and there's an interesting blog or there's a button that says, let me know when there's new courses available. Click on them so that when new things come up, you automatically notify. Same with Google Alerts. Google Alerts, you can put in specific topics or keywords that you're interested in, and they let you know when something new is there. Another really good tip is look at job postings for roles that you want to be in, okay? And look at the skills and the qualifications that are needed. Go through the job listing on the internet. Find a recruitment agency. Go through the jobs. Look what jobs are on offer. Look what skills they're looking for. Look at the qualifications they're looking for. Find a role model. and identify the skills and knowledge they possess. There's always that one person who's got the job that we think is wonderful, and we would like to be like them. Okay? Find that person. Have a look at them. Ask them to be your mentor. Find out what skills and qualities they have so that you can start learning towards that as well. And diversify your learning methods. Explore different learning formats. Find what fits you best. For me, a quick YouTube video is wonderful because I can go on, make a cup of coffee, and sit and watch a 5-minute video, but I can learn something new on Office, on Outlook, on Canva, on whatever is out there at the moment. So find something that works for you. Creating a personal learning plan, as I said earlier, these are important. We do them at work, but sometimes we need to sit down and do one for ourselves as well. Do a self-assessment. Set your self-learning goals. Identify learning resources. Create a learning schedule. Use it. Track and reflect, adjust and update, and celebrate achievements. And that is so important. I'm not going to labor too long on this because you all know what a personal learning plan is. But those are the steps for it. And I can only encourage you to take the time. Now, often I hear people say, but I don't have time, I'm so busy. Take 30 minutes out of a day where you work for you. Okay? You set up a learning plan. You set up your goals. You check what you want to do, and you set a plan in action. And discipline yourself that a certain time every day, you're going to sit down and do that. And I hear you saying to me, oh, but you know, the kids, and oh, but the husband, oh, but this, and I'm my boss, and I'm so busy, and all the rest of it. But if you've got time to watch a soapy on TV, or go out and have a cup of coffee with a friend, or do something like that, you can make 30 minutes a day for yourself, whether it be early in the morning, late in the evening, or even at lunchtime. Sit down and invest in yourself. Skills to focus on in your learning plan: office software, project management tools, customer relationship management. Even if you don't use it, find out what it is. Find out what's out there. Digital communication, email management, video conferencing, social media. Don't just learn how to use MS Teams, as I said earlier. Learn how to use MS Teams. Learn how to use Zoom. Learn how to use Google Meet. Data management and analysis, spreadsheets. Learn Excel. I remember a couple of years back saying to my classes where I taught Excel, that Excel is the future. Learn how to use it from A to Z. Find out what it can do. Database management, things like Access, Microsoft Access, SQL databases, data visualization tools. Cybersecurity awareness is something that is very big at the moment now as well. Learn basic cybersecurity, data privacy, cloud computing, cloud storage, cloud collaboration. Now we work on a document together on the cloud. Digital fluency, continuous learning adaptability. I put that there because there are so many digital tools that are out there that you can learn about. And then your soft skills, communication, problem solving, time management. Okay, how to manage our time, because we are going to be super busy with all the new tasks and that are coming in because the tools are making us that more productive. So these are the areas where you should be focusing on, okay, for the future. Networking important. Networking helps you, opens up career opportunities for knowledge sharing. It's a support system to make yourself visible. Let people see you and what you can do and how keen you are for the future. Skill development. Networking is super, super important. Mentorship. Find somebody who can be your mentor, who can give you guidance and advice, to share experiences with you for your personal growth, for goal setting, and somebody who can get excited with you when you achieve things. It helps for building your confidence. Okay, so networking and mentorship also very, very important. And we have associations out there that you can join. Resources and tools. Online learning platforms. I say, oh, so many out there that you can learn from now. Some that come to mind are Skill Me. Mancoso has started a wonderful new online platform called Skill Me, and they've incorporated a lot of digital things with it as well. And there's a lot there for, as an administrative professional that you could do, and they're very reasonably priced as well. There's the Institute of Business Management in South Africa. Sorry, South Africa, not South African. Will also offer great online learning courses. TUT, Shawani University of Technology, offer online courses. IQ Academy offer online courses. Those are ones that I've actually personally looked at and can really say there's some great stuff there for you to learn. There's Coursera, there's LinkedIn Learning, there's Udemy, there's Allison, there's edX. All these places are freely available to you to go in. Some of them have free stuff, some of them have paid stuff. My greatest online learning platform is YouTube. YouTube for me is great. As I say, I make a cup of coffee, go into one of these, go see what's new, and learn something new. Kevin Stratford, Microsoft and Digital Tools, wonderful channel to follow. Office Dynamics, you all know Joan Bird. Some of her webinars are really great. She's got a great YouTube channel for you to look at. All Things Admin, I'm a big follower of All Things Admin. Leila Garani does office productivity and digital tools. Really great way of teaching things in her little videos on YouTube. They're quick and they're easy. Tool Finder, find software for work and life. Productivity Pit Stop, productivity and creativity. They have some great learning videos on Outlook. In fact, they're having a free webinar tomorrow on Outlook and AI. So if you follow them, you learn about things that they're offering and you can attend them. And they offer quite a few things for free. So look for webinars and workshops. All those sites that I just mentioned offer webinars, they offer workshops. Join professional associations, and there are loads of them. There's OPSA, there's PANSA, there's PAPSA, there's IAP, there's IMA, there's AIOP, there's ASAP. That is just, once again, a small list, but to give you an idea of the places that you can go to, okay, for webinars, to join them, to network, to find out what's happening and to keep in touch. Books and publications. Disrupt Yourself or Be Disrupted by Nikki Ver. Beautiful book to read about digital things coming in and how it's changing our lives and how we need to be adapted. Julie Perrine has written some wonderful books, Innovative Admin, Become a Procedures Pro. I'm a great follower of Julie Perrine. Lucy Brazier, The Modern Day Assistant, great book. The Leader Assistant by Jeremy Burroughs. And there's a nice list there. And please don't, I hope you're not all trying to quickly write down because I've got a list for you at the end that you can actually download with all this information. But some great books. Brian Tracy on Procrastination, Brene Brown, great for personal development, Crucial Conversations, Kerry Patterson and Difficult Conversations. These are things that we need. Okay. Blogs and websites. We've got Office Dynamics. We've got Association of Executive and Administrative Professionals. There's Desk Demon. Once again, All Things Admin, The Art of Admin, Practically Perfect BA. You can find blogs and information on all of, sorry, let me start again there. You can find blogs and other information, podcasts, webinars, and things from these sites. They're all worth visiting. Certification programs. You have OPSA, who have give you a professional designation that is registered with SAQA. You get Joan Birch offers certification programs. You've got Richard Arno that offers certification programs. There's Adam Fiddler that offers certification programs. There are many out there if you just look for them. Join networking groups. Look for free tutorials and training, all these websites that I have given you. Podcasts and videos, same thing. Conferences and events. OPSA hold 2 conferences a year, once in Johannesburg and once in November. And we go very much on peer-to-peer learning. So you learn from the people that are at the conference. So these are all good resources that you can find helpful and that will help you grow for the future. I have given I have done a skills gap analysis document and a self-assessment and reflection tool document. And the list of resources, the websites and the books that I've just mentioned are all available on my website. I've given you a link that you can go directly there, or you can go to our website and under the resources tab, you will find these 3 documents, the skills gap analysis, your self-assessment, and list of resources. And yes, they are lengthy. They are big. But good things take time. So you need to put time aside and go through that list and seriously, seriously look at yourself and do a self-assessment. Where are you now? How prepared are you for the future? How good is your digital fluency? If I talk about Canva, you know what I'm talking about. If I talk about Trello, you know what I'm talking about. If I talk about Asana, you know what I'm talking about. Those are all tools that are widely used. Okay, so have a look at those documents, go through them, and then start putting a plan in place that says, right, this is what the future looks like. This is where I'm headed. I'm not going to lose my job. I just need to find better ways of doing my job so that more responsibilities can be added to me and I can keep growing. Now, the last little thing, and I hope I'm trying to keep to time here because I don't want to go over my time with you. I've got a minute or so left. I just want to cover a last slide with you, and it's something that I know a lot of people have been worrying about. I want to show you a timeline of AI. Now, if we have a look here, AI, believe it or not, started way back in 1950. And that is where the term artificial intelligence was actually first coined. So they came up with artificial intelligence as a term way back in 1950. In 1960, ELIZA was created, and ELIZA was the very first chatbot. Who knew? We thought chatbots were new. No, there was one in 1960. In 1970, knowledge-based systems came about, and we had the advent of something called the Stanford cart. I've actually given you a little picture there. And the Stanford cart was the first vehicle that could travel autonomously. In other words, there was nobody actually sitting in it and driving it. It was driving on its own. That was back in 1970. If we look at the 1980s, expert systems came out, and it's what they call the AI winter. Because in the AI winter, there was reduced funding and less interest in artificial intelligence. So it kind of went to sleep for a while. In the 1990s, it was revived and machine learning came into place. And we had something called AIBO, AIBO, that was invented. And AIBO is an intelligent robotic pet. That was in 1990. In the 2000s, we had something called Roomba come out. Roomba was a robotic vacuum cleaner. That was 25 years ago. We had Roomba come out, a robotic vacuum cleaner. In 2010, AI became mainstream, and IBM, one of the machines from IBM, actually beat the world-class chess champion. So that was in 2010, and then in 2020, AI became a little bit more relevant in everyday life. And IBM wins, IBM machine, you can see there in the middle, actually won Jeopardy. That was in 2020. Now, that is the history. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is that it started in 1950. We are now in 2025. So it has taken nearly 75 years to get to the point where it has got now. It is not going to change life automatically overnight. It's going to be introduced slowly, as slow as what they can, okay, which is probably fast, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to say, into our everyday life, into our careers, and into our jobs. So if we look here, we can't set these dates for certain. We can only forecast. So from 2025 to 2030, there's going to be advancements. We're still in very much a learning stage, okay? 2030 is 5 years away. 2031, integration into everyday life. We're looking between 2031, 2040. And then from 21 to 2050, ethical AI and global impact. Nothing is going to change tomorrow. Okay? What will change is new ideas coming in, new applications coming in that can make life easier for us. And we need to start learning what those applications are and keep on top with it. Okay. We still have many years before it will even think of taking us over. So get out of your mind what's going to happen to us in the future. Will we lose our jobs? You're not going to lose your job. You'll have your job still as long as you commit to continuous and lifelong learning, because that will be your key to success. Digital fluency, technological proficiency. Oh, I said it right the first time. Technological proficiency. Okay. Cybersecurity, how to work smarter, how to automate what I do now using the applications that are available to me. Take time out to learn, because if you continuously learn and you make that commitment to lifelong learning, you're going to find that as new devices come out, as new applications come out, you're not going to be afraid to change. You're going to be able to adapt to those new devices and those new applications, and you're going to be able to enhance on the role. Just as you saw, we started from secretary, clerical worker. Look at the nice titles that we have today. Chief of staff sounds really good. I'm sure you would agree with me. So please don't be afraid of AI. Embrace it, learn how to use it, and move forward one step at a time. You can look at this timeline and you can see there. We've got time to learn. We have got time to put a plan into place. We've got time to change a career and make it something really, really great. So I hope that was a good session for you. I might have spoken a little bit fast at times, but I didn't want to go over the time. But I encourage you. There's always been the the story of the frog was put into a glass bottle and they poured hot water over it. And it just sat there and it did nothing. And the hotter and hotter the water became, eventually, when it was like super hot, it decided to get up, but it was too late because it couldn't reach to the top of the water because it was far too hot. Don't be like that frog. Don't wait. And then when it gets too late, suddenly wake up and say, oh, and then it's too late to learn. Be that frog outside of the bottle. Get rid of him. Start learning now. Start putting a plan in process. Don't be afraid of digital fluency. Don't be afraid of technical proficiency. Learn it. It's there to help you. Thank you for listening. Are there any questions? I'm happy to answer questions if you need. Okay. If that's all, the recession has been recorded, and I'll make sure that you all get a copy of the session. And please feel free to go and visit our website and receive the resources that are there for you, the Skills Gap Analysis Self-Assessment Reflection Tool. And as usual, if you have any questions or you'd like to talk to me, please don't feel afraid to contact me. Either email me, dawn@opsa.org.za, and I will be more than happy to help you. And thank you for listening. Thank you, Makeba. Thank you, Lorato. Have a good day. Be safe and keep warm. Thank you, Florence.